My name is George Weiner. I'm the chief whaler of wholewhale.com. I'm also a proud board member of Power Poetry, and this is the pain and poetry in building a platform and other alliterations. The story started, though, before I got involved with the project when one amazing classroom, 3 teachers, found an innovative way to teach slam poetry. And the amazing process that was happening in this classroom, the transformative nature, was actually too amazing to stay there, and they started recording. And they turned this into a documentary. This documentary won one of the best documentaries of the year, New York Times Critics' Choice, following the lives of 3 teenagers over 5 years and the transformative nature that poetry had on them. This then became too amazing for the screen and had to become a platform. And that's where we end up now. Power Poetry has become the largest online platform for teens and poets online. I mean, they've got learning resources. They've got materials that help teens express themselves. How they got there, though, is not by accident. You don't get to 300,000 without some friends. So Drupal, building with Pantheon, building with Mandrill, platforms that scaled from the very beginning to allow them to get to that size. They intended to win here. They tested and responded. They were able to say, you know what? By build, measure, learn process, some things didn't work out. Poetry wars had to kill that, But some things really worked, like online poetry slams, like poetry mentors. They were also able to analyze for acquisition. Using Google Analytics, they were able to track when a new poet would come on the platform, when a new poet actually shared their work, or when comments were made. We were able to use Google Analytics so that we could tell which partners were sending the most valuable traffic. And so one of the amazing partners was through Google AdWords Grant and the Google Nonprofit Program, so that when you'd search for things like poetry ideas, you ended up on Power Poetry. To date, nearly $1 million has been spent driving poets to this platform, which is incredible. Once they're there, though, you needed this editorial purpose. You needed to collect the way teens were communicating about difficult topics like deconstructing stereotypes or Ferguson. We would have tens of thousands of poets submitting their work around these important conversations online. The number one thing, though, we realized that teens needed was scholarships. Paying for college is a huge pain point. This is Nina Donovan, one of our most recent scholarship winners. Over 19 have now received scholarships through this platform to support young poets. We had to create content, though, that met a need. And in order to do that, you need to think about what happens when you get a poetry assignment saying, go write an ode poem, and you misspell it odd poem, and then you get this result. Still power of poetry. Yes. You have to make it fun when you get there. So we created leaderboards and badges so that, if you want to write a poem after 11 p.m., you're getting the Night Owl badge. And this is a fun way of engaging teens so that they can, be involved online, creating these poems. And every time you get a comment, every time you get a badge, you're getting an automatic communication from the site. Over 500 of these messages are sent out every single day, automatically, with a 41% open rate. Imagine if your newsletter got a 41% open rate. This is why I get so excited about poetry, though. When you think about the perfect intersection between literacy and emotional expression, that's where poetry lives. And so you're having teenagers in a transformative time in their lives able to express their words, and this is why this matters. 85% of kids facing the juvenile detention system can't read the verdict. I'm a data guy. That's not a statistic, that's an epidemic. We need a literacy engine. We need to go where they are before they get there, which means reaching into their pockets, not for money, but because they have a mobile phone, and that's the number one way they access the internet. 1 in 4 sessions in 2014 on the site were driven by mobile. Now it's up to 1 in 3. So designing for this experience in a way that they can access was incredibly important. Also important is Jessica. She's amazing. She runs digital support for Power Poetry, and it's like Jessica versus the world of spammers. Literally, she's like dealing with people in Southeast Asia and Ukraine and across the world, attacking this site. She used to have to spend 3 days a week doing this until we figured out automatic ways inside of Drupal to mitigate the spam and create custom ways so she could look up, kill, and clean as many of these spammers as possible. Ultimately, I'm telling you a story. This is a story about tech and leverage. This is a story about 2.5 staff members supporting 300,000 teens in 175 different countries. This is a story about not just numbers, but teens that now have a platform that allows them to be heard.
I am being where I'm from, like somehow my worth isn't worth
shit.
I'm tired.
I'm sick and tired. I'm tired of being sick and tired of being broke.
Goals 1 million by 2023. Thank you so much.